Satyros. We're going to be doing a Let's Play for Ark, and this is going to be a sort of a dual recording experience. I've got my wife, who also is a gamer in the background, who's going to be kind of following along. We're going to be running on a dedicated server which we host in the house, and kind of doing a separate but at the same time dual play of two different people joining in with Ark, and sort of at some point we're going to meet up in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead, get spawned up in game. This is our server that we have created, and go ahead and get in. It might take a minute to launch, and you may see Realta join the Ark at some point. She's going to explain mods and explain what we have going on. I'll try to explain a few as we're going. So as you can see, we're loading up. Sometimes it gets hung up on some of these, sometimes it doesn't. With the server being right here, sometimes it loads pretty quick. Alright, and we're up, and of course you have your different customization, different things you can do. You can do skin color, you can do arms and legs and size and everything. Usually I don't bother editing any of this stuff since we play on a private server. I usually just throw my name in here and spawn. So here we go, get that going, and she is going to be doing a completely random spawn, so she's not even going to pick one of these zones. And as you can see on the map, every time you pick a zone, usually there'll be a little highlighter that shows you where you're going to spawn. Typically, especially if we're playing on a public server or something, we like to spawn in this region here, which is known as South 1 through 3. This is South 1, this would be about South 2, this would be around the South 3 area. This is one of the easiest areas to spawn. It's also one of the easiest areas to live. Sometimes when we're feeling a little challenging, we go with the west zones. The west zones are over in this area. Again, there's a little more carnivore action over there. There's a little more chance of death, but it's pretty easy. So I'm actually going to choose South 3, and there is no guarantee. This is something I'll put out from the start. There is no guarantee when you spawn that you're going to live through your first spawn. So go ahead and get that out of the way. There are several things, some smaller carnivorous dinosaurs out there, raptors and several other things. So there is no guarantee that you're going to live through your first spawn. You may go through 2 or 3 before you finally actually get to a location where you can start. So I'm going to go ahead and go in game. Realta's already in game, and I already hear something nearby, and that is a pterodon, or pterodactyl, or pterodon as they call them, and we've got a trike, which is a good sign. And we're going to take a second to look around, figure out where we're at. 2 trikes. Okay. We do run accelerated experience and leveling on this game, so as you can hear, I just leveled, and I'm probably going to level several times in the first few minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to run around here. We're going to go ahead and gather a few things. We have accelerated gathering as well. So we're going to go ahead and get some stuff together and start crafting basic items. And as you can see, I've already got a couple of levels, so I'm going to start putting points in. On this server, it's not so important to level fortitude, but I like to. And you get enneagram points. These are things that you can learn to craft. So as you level, you will get more points. You can go through and put them in. And again, we have things set up accelerated on this server. So we're going to go through and we're going to learn a bunch of basic equipment enneagrams so that we can start getting going. And There we are. And since we also run other mods, we have to scroll all the way to the bottom, and you will see we have things called S+. These are better pieces of equipment. These snap better. These also give us better performance. You can pick up the items and move them. You can replace them. They also are improved versions of different things. And you have things like this, which I probably won't use. The only two we really use are the demo gun and the repair gun, but I'm not going to make those right now. We also have things like this, and we have reusable items. These are things that you really will rely on. So now that we have our first item crafted, we're going to go ahead and put it down here, and we're going to use that to get a couple of things that we need. So we're going to go ahead and can't harvest that rock, so we'll go over to this one. There we are. And you get resources which you can use to craft more items. So since we have the enneagram for this, we'll go ahead and do it. We need wood, so now that we have our axe, we will go ahead and we'll get some wood. And as I said, you notice that we have increased gathering rates. So basically I'll explain the increased gathering rates as we get a little bit further down the road. And if you notice, I cannot craft these two because I need hide. I haven't killed anything that I can harvest hide from yet, so I'm going to get to that point. And what I'm actually going to do is continue with this, and since we made some armor, we're going to go ahead and put that on. That'll give us a little bit more survivability. And again, if you notice, I have some more points, so I'm going to go ahead and come down and increase things. Primarily I start with these two, so I focus on health and stam. Then I come down and I do weight, melee damage, movement speed, and fortitude. Since I've already got points in health and stam, I'm going to come down, put a point in weight, and one in melee damage. And again, it pops up, and I just leveled again. So I'll come down and I'll put one in movement speed. And again, I have to get to level 10 to unlock more enneagrams. So certain enneagrams unlock at certain levels, and currently the highest enneagrams you can do are level 90 enneagrams. So that's way down here. So what we're going to do now, since we've got a little bit of a good start, we have some tools, we've got some defense, we're going to see where we spawned. And we are way around in South 1. So what we're going to try to do, barring running into anything deadly over on that other beach, is we're going to try to work our way over to, let's see, we're going to go Latin Lounge first. So we're going to try to work our way over to this area on the map at 85 55 or somewhere in that general area. So basically we got to drop down one set of squares and go back 3. And as we go, I'll show you on the map where I'm trying to get to. But I'm going to look around here and make sure that there are no... We're going to make sure there are no carnivores before we start crossing here. And that's the hard part, because if you look across way over there on that other beach, right in the middle of the screen where that Bronto is, you'll see a couple of dinos walking in the distance. Those are aggressive dinos. So to get past them will take a little bit of effort. So we're going to attempt, and again, there's no guarantee I'm going to make it. It's probably a pretty good chance of death at making this run. So what we're going to do is we're going to sneak over here to the water. And we are going to stick our head under the water and see what's nearby. Okay, there's no mega piranhas, so usually before you swim across any body of water, you want to check underneath the surface and make sure that there are no mega piranha. Because mega piranhas and megalodons, things of this nature. Now, if you notice way over there, that is not a nice guy. That is what's known as a sarco. And that is basically a giant alligator. They're not friendly. They're very fast, especially in water. And we're going to go ahead and start working our way across here. We'll go ahead and get our spear out. So far there's a couple of herbivores along the way. I see a parasaur. I hear a couple of dodos. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue along here, and of course there's a raptor. This is not going to end well if we have to fight him. So what we're going to do is go ahead and attempt to get past him before he finishes killing whatever he is after. The trick, and there's another one. The trick to it is you have to run very quickly, and you have to pay attention to your stam. And I will explain that in just a second if I can make it down the beach. It's also a reason why you put points in speed from the start. Okay, it seems like we're okay, but there's no guarantee that we're out of the water. So we're going to continue down the beach. Okay. So we're going to continue to hug the beach. And what I'm actually going to do is take a moment to turn up the gamma. And basically when the sun goes down with this game, the shadows will stack and it will get like pitch black even with a torch in your hand in some places. So it's good to be able to modify that. So we're going to use a simple command, and it's just that. It basically brightens the game up a little bit, makes it a little bit easier to see. Because as you can see, when it starts getting dark, it gets dark fast. And what I'm going to do is actually go back to Gamma 1 just to show you what it gets, how dark it gets. This is usually, well, that's probably a little low. This is probably about normal gamma for the game. So as you can see, even with this Listroy, or this Lystrosaurus right here, you know, you would have to really look for him to see him with the gamma set at this level. So that's why we run Gamma 3. It's a little bit better. Makes it a little bit easier to see at night. But we're actually going to go ahead and kill this guy because we need the hide and the meat. So once he dies, you will actually use your axe to harvest, and you get a little bit of meat and some hide. And since we have hide now, we're going to go ahead and go in and make boots and gloves. And as you can see, you start getting things. And when you first spawn in the game, you get some skins. I normally don't like using these, especially this one. This is not even for this map. You get it anyway. So we're going to go ahead and drop that. And I don't use any of these, so I'm going to go ahead and drop those. That way I can loosen up my inventory. I don't have to worry about carrying too much stuff. And then we're going to put on our new armor. These guys are carbonates. They are basically giant tortoises. They are non-aggressive until you actually hit them, and then they're very hard to kill because they're armored with their shells. Sometimes you can get on them and ride them before they're tamed, but generally they're good fodder. Now if you notice, there's an egg here. This belongs to a dillo, and a dillo is this thing. So those are dillos, and they're the frilly things. If you remember Jurassic Park, where the guy was trying to run away and he got trapped in the mud, the nerdy glasses guy, and the dino pops up and throws his frill out and spits in his face. That's what those are, and that's exactly what they do. They will spit in your face and blind you, and then commence to attacking you. But because this is one's egg, I'm not going to pick it up, because if you pick it up, they will come after you. So we're not going to bother with that. But we're going to try to avoid them, because again, they are aggressive. So we're going to continue to go around this way. And again, there's another Lustro, and that is the Pegomatrix. These things are annoying because they steal your stuff. They steal your stuff. And of course now I already have a pet one, so and they are all over the beach over here. And see, these guys are passive tame. They are a passive tame, and the way you tame them is you put stuff in your inventory and they steal it. These little guys are compies. By themselves, they're not so bad, but when you get a group of them, like we have now, they get annoying and very bitey. So what we're going to do is we're going to attempt to get out of here, because these guys, this stuff is annoying. So what we're going to do is we're going to put down our little Pegomatrix guy, or Pegomatrix. Alright, he's on attack our target. We're going to turn him to ignore group missiles. Alright, we're going to try to get out of here before anything else wants to come play. So, we're going to work on getting out of here. So again, those Pegomatrix are basically thieves. They will steal stuff out of your inventory and take off with it. You have to run them down and kill them. They're very annoying. And it's just something you really don't want to have to deal with. And I thought I just saw a raptor run by. You start to learn to notice silhouettes. Let's check the map again, see where we are. Okay, we're around south 2, so we need to get across this gap over there in order to get to where I want to go to spawn. Again, there's probably some Mega Piranha in there, so we're going to try to avoid going in. And we're going to go over this way and see if we can cross somewhere over here where these carbons are. Let's check here and see if... See, again, there's a Megalodon over there. There are some coal here. You can actually kill those and eat them. I do not see any Mega Piranha, so we may make a rush for it. And again, there's no guarantee you're going to make this, so usually it is best to try to go around water or try to avoid water. Don't cross open water like this, even if it looks shallow. And we're going to go ahead and take off from here and attempt to make our way around the beach down this way. I thought I saw a few not nice dinos back there, possibly a Gallimimus, and thought I saw a couple of Trondoons, so we're going to try to get away from them because they are not nice. Again, I see another Raptor, and he seems to be busy, so we're going to attempt to get past him. And again, there is an Oviraptor, and we have 2 raptors, so this is not going to end well. So we are probably going to die. So we made it at least a little bit. If I could have gotten to another dino, we would have been okay. What I'm going to do is, since I've died, I'm going to respawn on South 2 instead of South 3, because if you notice now we're getting our little icon, our little highlighted area. Zone 1 is actually a rather nice area, now that I have a chance to go over the map and talk about spawn locations. This area right here is rather nice. There's a large plateau up here that you can settle on. This little beach is pretty secluded. The only thing you have to worry about is sometimes there's a Spinosaurus that spawns in this area here, and sometimes you get raptors that come down from the plateau. But again, this is a nice area for starters. Anything along in this area is definitely a preferred real estate for a new spawn, or for anybody that's new to the game. Where we're shooting for is actually this gap right here. We're shooting for this river. This area here is not that bad, this little peninsula. Sometimes when you spawn in South Zone 2, you spawn right on this little island. So this, anywhere in this area between 60 and 30 is a really nice area to spawn for first time players. And again, you can see why certain spawns like the Zone 3 is a bad spawn, because again, you have so much stuff you have to cross, and there's so many carnivores along this area. So again, we're going to go ahead and set our spawn actually for Zone 2, which is this area, and we're going to try respawning. And again, when you now that we're back up, we're going to go ahead and start gathering again, because when you die, you lose everything. So you have to completely restart. You lose all your armor, you lose all of your equipment that you had crafted, and everything. Food, the whole 9. So we're going to start working on recrafting. So we're going to go ahead and shoot up here, grab some fiber to make some more armor. And we're going to go through, and we're going to recraft everything. And again, you get all of this stuff every time you respawn, so just drop it. Sometimes, if you get lucky, you will be able to go back and get your body, which means you can pick up all of your equipment that you dropped when you died. And since we have equipment, we're going to go ahead and do this. We need some wood, so we're going to come down here, pick up some wood, go ahead and recraft that, and then we're going to get all of our armor recrafted real fast. And we're actually going to make a club, a fire, and a torch if we have enough stuff. As you see, this is our crafting queue. This is what we're working on building. The club becomes irrelevant very quickly, but it's also a survival thing. Again, we're going to go through and we're going to distribute points, since we have a few new points now. I'm probably going to get fortitude to 100, and I'm going to leave it there. Movement speed, I'll probably get to 150. Melee, I would prefer to have it about 200 to 250. And then from there, I won't mess with these anymore, and I'll focus on weight, stam, and health. Primarily though, I'm going to go ahead and bump weight up to 150. And again, you see now we've opened up a bunch of new enneagrams, so I'm going to go ahead and start learning those. And if you notice, I'm only learning certain ones at the moment, and that'll come in later. I'll explain why. But for the moment, I'm just learning key ones. And now we have new armor, so once we get some hide together, we'll start doing that. We now have a new weapon. This is better than the initial weapon you start with is the slingshot. It's kind of effective. It'll knock stuff out, but this is where you want to get to. And those are definitely not nice. So we're going to have to respawn there again. Again, do not stand in too many places because it does not end well. So we're going to go ahead now and attempt to just get to a location to build a base before we start gathering and doing anything else. Again, you will die multiple times before you finally get to a happy place, as I like to address it. There's so much stuff that will eat you in this game that's just not even nice. So it's best to just go ahead and get to where you're going to settle and not stop too much. Again, we're going to look, see if there's any mega piranha in here. I don't see any. I do see an ichthyosaur, which is basically a dolphin. Again, these coal you can kill and eat. And we're going to cross. This is one of the areas I told you that was nice to spawn. That island over there is one of the nice areas. You can actually live pretty comfortably on that island. And then what we're going to do is, that's a good spot to cross because I've never really seen too many mega piranha in this area. But like I said, that's why you always check, is you never know what's going to be under the water until you look. But since we're on this island, we'll go ahead and collect some stuff up because we're getting close to where we wanted to go to settle. And I'm actually going to skip some of this stuff and go ahead and just start working towards getting back to where I like to be. Basically, anytime I spawn in this area, I have a certain point I like to settle. It's really nice as far as resources and everything else. Oh, and just to show you, this is a megalodon. And that's an ichthy. There's another megalodon that seems to be stuck there. So again, you never know what's going to be under the water till you get under here. Those things are not nice. They hit rather hard. The ichthyes are non-aggressive, but they're playful, and their idea of playing is trying to drown you. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get back up on the beach. Again, you see the seagull looking things. They're known as pelagornis. You can fly on them. They're really great for gathering organic polymer, which we'll get into as we go. Again, this little cove is an okay or decent little area. As you can see, I keep running out of stam. That's what that icon is that pops in the bottom left of my screen. We have a Bronto here. These guys are, of course, non-aggressive. Just don't hit them or do anything that's going to upset them, like steal their eggs. And then as you get over this way, again, we'll look at the map. If you notice, I'm skirting that little cove. There's also up near that island that I or near where I spawned, there are beavers, and those actually drop some things which we will gather as we go. It depends on how quickly we level and how quickly we move, and again, it's taking me a bit to get to where I want to settle. I had already decided before I started the game that that's where I was going to go. And so it's just a matter of making my way over there. And it's, again, not easy. This game is very unforgiving in certain aspects. And again, since I died, I lost my Pegomatrix. Pegomastrix. It probably got killed. It was sort of an accidental tame. They passive tame as you have items in your inventory, especially fruit. If they steal it, that is how they tame. And again, I'll explain some of that as we go. One of the first things you really want to tame in the game is either a raptor or a pterodon, because these guys you will need a form of transport. Lestros really don't have a use other than quick sources of meat or quick ways to get hide. And again, this is the beach we were shooting for. And it appears that we may make it to the area that we're shooting for without running into too much more. And I know what actually killed us that last time, so I'll show you one if I can see one. I didn't even realize there was one on the beach there. Again, you have dodos. These are like the chickens of the game. You can get eggs from them or kill them for meat or whatever. They're everywhere, especially near the beaches. They're everywhere. This is a moss chop. We haven't really found a use for them yet. And again, if you notice a phrase pops up, that's how you tame them. That's what it wants to eat so that it can so that you can tame it. They cycle through a list of different things. Like this one wants a rare flower. You come over here to this one, and of course it wants a rare mushroom. So they're good for hide and meat again. I don't really know of any other use they have at the moment. As you get close to certain things, you get levels. So if you notice above his head, you see the name and the level. And of course you see a heart. That means it's mate boosted. So it's mate boosted with this one. That means it's a male and a female, and they're mate boosted. They hit a little harder. They also drop eggs. And if you notice this guy, he is a level 8. And we'll look down here real quick. Again, more dodos, a bunch of turtles. Just to give you an idea of what a mega piranha is, and since I want to top my water off, we're going to come down here and take a drink, and I'll show you. If you get under the water, you see this knife-shaped thing coming at us right now. That, or those, are mega piranha. And they will see you from a long way off. They're not nice, they hit rather hard. Again, across the way, we've got a couple of different dinos. I see a Dimetrodon. I've got what I call a chalico. They're sort of sloth horse looking things over there. They're territorial. Normally they're herbivores. If you look up the hill, you see a Therizino. That is what killed us the last time. There's also a Carno up there, and if you get a size comparison, that gives you an idea of how big they are. That thing on the right is a Therizino. That gold-colored dino is a Carno. There's 2 or 3 raptors up there as well. So what we're going to do is go ahead and go up the hill. We're going to go ahead and get settled before those things decide to come across the road and mess with us. So this area right up here is where we were trying to get to. So we'll go ahead and work our way up there. And again, that's an oviraptor. They will confuse you sometimes because they move like normal raptors. They're basically egg stealers. They're also good for when you're breeding to do egg boosts. So when you're breeding dinos, you will collect up a couple of those and use them to you will use them to boost your dino's egg output so they lay eggs more often. And since we're in this area now, we can relax a little bit. We still need to get a weapon because there could be a dillo or two up here. So we want to go ahead and get all of our stuff recrafted here. Get some stone and some flint. Then collect up some more wood. I'll make one of those. I'm not going to worry about the club because I'm not going to be using that very much. And again, I'm going to go ahead and drop these items. And I'm going to go ahead and craft. Since I have this, I'm going to go ahead and kill a dino or dodo or two to get some meat and some hide. So now that we have meat and hide, I'm going to go ahead and craft some hide armor instead of the cloth armor that I was wearing. And I'm going to go ahead and make a water skin. This is just about a necessity. And a fire. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and stay with what I have for now, and I'm going to put my fire down here along with my water skin, so I'll go back and I'll get some water in a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and pick sort of an area to settle in up here. And as you can see, this is we have a drop. Let's go see what we have. These are drops or supply crates. They will drop at random. They're different colors, different levels to get them. And as you come up to them, you see that you have a counter to supply crate 80 out of 100. That's the health. That will drop over time because they do despawn after a certain length of time. On a public server, these are highly contested. But we have ours modded, so there's no telling what I'm going to get with this. But I'm going to go ahead and harvest it and see what we have. And as you open it, as you see, I have an apprentice raptor saddle. That means now I don't have to learn the raptor saddle enneagram because now I have a pattern that will let me craft that. And as you take it, or as you see in here, there are other things. This is to spawn the in-game bosses. There are bosses at the different obelisks in the game, and you can spawn them and kill them. There's usually a tribe-wide or server-wide raid. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take this item, and as you can see, the crate goes away. Now this is another good thing about this spawn point is there's a crate that drops right there on random cases. And again, if you look over here, you will see that we have several different things. We've got a raptor there. We've got several raptors. We have a Dimetrodon. Across the way, you see another Therizino. There's several of those. Again, Parasaur. I also see some some Dillos going after a Parasaur over there. So there's several things we have to watch out for on that side. We're not going to worry about them too much. We're going to come over to this side, and again, just to give you an idea of how big this little plateau is, this is one of my preferred areas, and it's one of the more securable areas in the game. Again, there's a Carno. We'll take care of that at some point. It does appear that there is a slight possibility we have an alpha spawn, and I'm assuming it may be that light-colored raptor down there. I don't know because I don't have a scope or a spyglass to be able to zoom in on it and see. So we're going to go ahead and come back over here and start to gather materials to start crafting. Basically, I was looking to see if there was a Dillo or anything else I needed to really worry about in the immediate future. And it doesn't appear to be. There's a trike over there. There's a couple of dodos, so we're not going to worry about too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and collect up some wood, and we're going to pay attention to our weight. If you notice in the bottom right, we have some icons. The flashing up arrow is your level. Below it's the amount of weight that you are carrying, your water level, your food level, your stamina, and your health. And what you need to watch is you have to pay attention to your food and water levels. Those will drop as time goes by. Your stam, of course, that lightning bolt shows how far or how much you can run. When you run out of stam, you have to stop so that you can get it back. And as you can see, it will come back over time. So it doesn't take long. Dinos also have those same things, and I'll show those as we get to taming and riding dinos. And again, if you notice in the distance, that is another beacon that is what we call beacons or drops. That's a yellow drop that is actually a higher level, or one of the higher level drops, red being the highest. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and collect up a little bit more wood, because we need wood, thatch, and stone to craft. So we're going to go ahead and collect up some stone. Again, certain areas like these kinds of stone, you have to use something to collect. It'll take a few minutes. And again, as you gather things, your tools and your equipment will take damage. As you notice, underneath my axe, there's a health bar that is dropping. As it gets to a certain point, it'll break and you can repair it. Since we already have some stone, what we're going to do is we're going to put a fire down. We're going to put a little bit of wood in there with this meat so that we can get cooked meat, and we need that. And as you can see, your environment does affect your own stats. And your armor has stats on it, like the armor, the max durability, and the hypothermic and hyperthermic insulation values. That changes how your environment affects you. The music that you're hearing is a change in the day. It's basically noon. So as the day goes, you'll hear that music. It's also when the server saves, you will hear that music sometimes. As you can see, we've already got 2 cooked meat, so we're just going to let this run, and it's given us another resource we need, which I'll explain later as we get to where we need it. So what we're going to do is go ahead and distribute our new enneagram leveling points, and I'm going to go ahead and start working towards 200. And once I get to 200, I won't put any more points in weight for now. And as you can see, we got a few more items that we need. So we'll go ahead and learn. See, again, this pattern or this enneagram is for a raptor saddle. That's for a normal quality or gray quality raptor saddle. We already have the pattern for the raptor saddle, so I won't learn that enneagram because I don't need it. A lot of the items in the game, we have enneagrams, or we have patterns in the drops for them. Although we do have enough enneagram points by the end of the game that or by the time you hit level 90, you'll have enough enneagram points to learn all the enneagrams in the game. It's nice to have them because sometimes the higher level items get more expensive. And again, I'm skipping over some things. We won't need this till later because we have to get into the redwood area. That's a hard area to get into. My main thing I'm trying to get to is this point. So I'm trying to get all of the stone items. Again, you need certain enneagrams for certain items, and you'll see that as we go. I'll probably try to learn one and it will say I can't because I don't have the required thing. This armor set we will try not to go for. You don't need the fur until a little bit further through in the game. This is an important one for sure. This is going to end up being one of your most used tools in the game. A crossbow is indisposable for various other things, and I will explain that as we get to that point. Again, most of this stuff I don't learn. And as you can see, there's a bunch more. You get down into this point. And again, this is another mod. This is a storage mod, and it basically increases your storage space, gives you different storage containers. It doesn't really matter. You can put anything in any of these containers, but they're themed, so it helps you. Like, you can put saddles in the saddles or dinosaur skins in the dino equipment one. You can put armor in the armor stand one, and it helps you kind of keep things organized and separated. And again, S Plus is that other mod, and I'll show you how it works here in a few minutes. Some of the parts of it will give you a little bit of trouble to get it to snap right, but for the most part it's a really nice mod, and you'll understand why once I actually start crafting a building. I'm going through, and these don't cost you any enneagram points. They're just upgrades of current items, but they have certain functionality. For example, the pipes, these stone pipes, you can hide them. So when you get your pipes run to your house so that you can start getting water, you can actually hide all the pipes, and all you'll see is just the water tap. So none of this shows up, so it cleans up the map, makes it a little nicer looking. This is going to be one of our next priorities, is getting a smithy and a refining forge crafted and set out. Getting to metal objects quickly is actually one thing you'll do. Now these two are also mods in S Plus. They allow you to turn entire panels into electrical and water connections, and I'll show you how those work as we go too. Now if you notice, you can hear dinos walking around in the background. That's something you definitely want to be paying attention to. And again, this is more reusable things. This is indisposable. You will learn to love this, and I'll explain why and show you why. Again, this is another mod that we have. You'll see how that works as we get down the road. It is, again, indisposable. This is a new mod. I haven't played with any. I'm gonna test it and see. And again, this is yet another mod. And you notice we run a heavily modded game. This game is extremely unbalanced and unfair. That I will admit from the start. And to offset that, we run mods. And to give you an idea of how unbalanced the game is, at some point we will do a video of no mods, no anything else, and show you sort of an unmodded gameplay experience, so you can get an idea of what this game is actually like without any mods at all. This game is unforgiving with no mods. So what we're going to do is, since we're settled, we don't have to worry about Carnos too much, or we don't have to worry about anything attacking us for the moment. This is a really nice start. Pretty much you will clear this entire plateau off as you go. But what you're going to do is you're going to start, and as you can see, I got distracted for a second. If you drop things, if you notice, there is a decomposition timer. It's usually set for 20 minutes. We've got it turned up, of course. Normal game is like 2 minutes. So if you drop something by accident, you can pick it back up. But again, I usually, when I'm in this area, if I have things I want to get rid of, stuff I'm not going to use, trash, just general things I'm not going to use, to keep from dragging my frame rate down with having a million things like that sitting on the ground, I usually throw them off a cliff. I'll just come up here to the edge of the cliff, open my inventory, and throw. You also want to be careful because dinos can push you off of that cliff, which is not fun. This trike I'm going to leave alone. He's not bothering anything. It's just a little bit of an annoyance. But as long as it's here, it's also a defense. Because if something does come up and starts attacking you, if you can get to him and get him between you and whatever's attacking you, it might hit him and get him to kill it for you. So again, it's a good thing. And if you notice, we've got a lot of carnivores over there, so there is a very distinct possibility we have an alpha spawn somewhere on that mountain. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and get established. We need to get a house going because we are out in the open, we're exposed, and we need to be able to start storing things. So what we're going to do is we're going to start getting our foundation together. So we're going to go ahead and look through our놀ograms. We're going to go ahead and distribute points. Again, I'm going to go ahead and go up to 200. I don't think I can learn anything. No, not yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start working on getting foundations together. So we'll go into our thing. One thing I'm going to go ahead and make is a bolo. I want to have this together. This is one of your defenses against raptors and other small critters, because you can wrap them up and then kill them before they get to you. So this is almost an indisposable item when you finally get to where you can craft it. As you can see, this item is ghosted out. You can see that you can move this one and it's a little bit brighter. This item's ghosted out. That was the fire pit that I put down. If I leave that in my inventory, if I accidentally hit that number, it will craft one of those as long as I have the materials to do so. So I want to clear that off my inventory because I don't want to accidentally craft that. One of the things that I'm actually going to go ahead and make is this cost chest. And I'm going to go ahead and find and make a stone foundation once I get some thatch. So different, if you notice, your weapons will gather different things. Let's go over and smack this rock a little bit. Now if you notice, when I hit this rock, I'm getting metal, stone, and flint, but I'm getting a little more flint than stone. If I switch to my axe, you notice I'm getting a little more stone than flint. So when it comes to stone, you want to use your axe, unless you need flint, and then of course flint is used for things which I will explain as we go. On wood, it's exactly the opposite. If you use your pick, you get thatch and wood, but you get more thatch than wood. If you switch to your axe, you get more wood than thatch. So again, if you want wood, use your axe. If you want thatch, use your pick. So hopefully we have enough to get one foundation going, because we have to get that down in order to, we want to get this crafted and down. Actually, let's go ahead and make all three. So we're going to go ahead and make 3 foundations. We're going to put them down here on our inventory so that we can place them. And we're going to look through and find a fairly flat place to start. So let's say we're going to start right up on the edge of this plateau here, right about where that fire is. So actually, let me check that fire. If it's done cooking, and it is, I'm going to go ahead and put that fire out, pick up all the materials, and if you notice, it says it has T, excess inventory. You can use F to get in the inventory, or you can use T. In this case, that's my tilted key. So what I'm going to do is actually hold that, and it brings up menu, access inventory, demolish, which you get a counter. So you really want to be careful. Luckily it doesn't immediately demolish things. Or you can go to this. Now this is an S plus campfire, so that's why I say I love the S plus mod, because the normal campfire you cannot pick up. So this one allows you to pick it up. without destroying it. So now you put it back in your inventory. So what we're going to do is, since we're going to go ahead and use this area, we're going to pull our platform out, and we're going to go ahead and start, let's say right here. Okay, so now we've placed our foundation, and what we're going to do is look real quick. I can't go very far across, but this is not going to be a very big structure. So what I think I'm going to do is actually move this again. Since it's an S plus, you can pick it up. And with a normal foundation, you would have to demolish it to remove it or to replace it. So we're going to go ahead and pick it up. We're going to come over this way, and I think I'm going to run this way right along the edge of the cliff towards, from this tree or this bush towards that bush over there. This is a good thing. If you notice, it's raining. When it's raining, especially if you have a water, like you see the water skin that's on 8 on my action bar, if I hit it now, it will actually fill it because it's raining, and it actually fills my water level. So you can drink while it's raining, and you can refill anything that holds water, which is a great thing. Because I'm going to be fairly quick at building my house, and because I'm right here on the cliff, I'm not going to build a water storage. But this is one of those times where you would want to get a water reservoir down to collect rainwater. That would be this. And basically you would put it down, it would fill with rainwater, and then you could drink from it, or you could fill your containers. I'm not going to use that because I'm going to actually run my water up to my house once I get established. And right now I don't need enough water, or I don't need more water than what I have. And again, that's an OV. They will make you pause every now and then because they do have a gate like a raptor, or like a regular raptor. So if you compare that gate to the gate of a raptor, there's one over there. I don't see one now, but you will notice they have a lot of these dinos have similar gates. There it is. That is a raptor, that black thing way over there on the edge of that cliff. So you can see they have similar gates to the oviraptors, so they'll make you really sit back and consider. But what we're going to do is we're going to put our base right up on this cliff edge. We're going to run right over to that other bush right over there. So we're going to start from here, and we're going to kind of aim it like right along this way. We're going to pick that one up and do it again. So we're going to turn it and try now. Alright, that's what we want. So if you notice, if you run along this edge, it's running that way. That's going to give us a nice base. So we're going to continue that, and we're going to go ahead and place these other 3. So we'll put one there, and we'll put one here. And we're just going to keep working on this base. So we'll go probably, I eventually want to get a dino gate over here or something else, but we'll eventually probably go about 7 wide, because at some point there's a possibility that maybe we may want to put a behemoth gate on this foundation. So we need to be at least 7 or 8 foundations wide for that. Or I may just use a smaller building for this and eventually put a dinosaur storage area somewhere over on that edge. So we're going to continue to build things out, and we're going to just continue working. So the next project is we're going to get a refining forge down. So again, we're going to go through and so what we're going to do is go through here, and we're going to look for the S plus refining forge. And again, if it takes you too long to look for things, sometimes this stuff will show up in folders. Again, it's That's if you click the show all. Right now none of this stuff is in folders. But normally there'll be a folder with an item, and you'll see that when we start crafting the S Plus crafting tables and things of that nature. For now, we're looking for the Refining Forge S, or the S Plus Refining Forge. Now again, if you have too many items like this gets a little monotonous to try and find things. So what you can do is you can search for them. So you go up here to this text entry thing, and you would type in something like this, and you get Forge. So again, you see the Refining Forge, you see the anagram is red. That means we're missing something we need to craft it. If you look at the others, they're all green. That means we have those items. So what we're going to do is we need hide. So now we're going to have to go hunt some dodos or some other creatures to kill to get hide. And since we have a few more points, we're going to go ahead and assign those. So we're going to bump melee damage up to 150. We're going to go 130 on movement speed. And since we're level 30, we are going to go ahead and learn some more enneagrams. So we're going to go through very quickly and see what's new that we can learn. And if you notice, we now have the behemoth gates. These, I will explain how they work later. If you notice, we now have chitin. Chitin can be crafted in a smithy, which we will put together. Water jars, these are indisposable. They hold more water than a water skin. They're a little bit heavier, but the water doesn't evaporate like it does in a water skin. This is nice just for aesthetics. You can cook meat in it, and it lights up a bigger area and provides heat. But again, it's something that you may or may not need. This is definitely something we need. When we get into the redwood area, we have to have this. This goes around a redwood in the redwood forest, and it allows you to build a base on it so that you can use it to stay in the treetops away from all the stuff. This will end up being another one of your primary weapons. As you can see, there's several different weapons. I tried to learn the patterns for those, and we're going to work through it. And you can make metal components. They're very expensive. You're really going to have this is really in-game stuff. This is when you're definitely established. You have the industrial forge. You can pump out 500 to 1,000 metal in a little bit of time. But since we've learned all of that, we're going to run through, go down and hit our S plus stuff and fill that out. And as you can see, this is all part of the platform smithy and things that you need for that. So we're going to go ahead and round these out. And for today, we're probably going to be done, so we're going to go ahead and stop here with learning all of this stuff. And it's actually a good time too, because it's nighttime. If you can hear that music, that is also the server saving. And at this point, as we go through and we make sure that we have all of this stuff learned, we are going to probably call it there and start over at another point. So the last task I'm actually going to do is replace my fire in my chest, and then we will call it a night. So there we are, and this is now the end of our beginning. So we're going to see how things turn out. We're going to continue this server as we go. Again, this is going to be a dual server experience. And again, we're going to go ahead and call it here. And I have no idea where Realta is. Eventually we will get to her base. Again, I'm on South 2. And we will find her base. That's sort of what we're planning on doing. And at some point we're going to do a collaboration structure somewhere on the island where we both get together and we build one structure together. So at some point we will run into her. For now, she's out there somewhere. I have no idea where. And at this point, I'm actually going to go ahead and call it. I think when we get back, we'll work on finishing this structure, getting some other stuff going, and enjoying the rest of the thing. So this is Satyros. We're going to go ahead and sign off, and wish you a good play, and hopefully you can get into Ark and enjoy it like us.